संजय हमारे संग जुड़ने के लिए। Another Hindu has become a scapegoat of the mob's wrath in Bangladesh, surrounded and beaten severely by locals, then losing his life on the way to hospital. This is how the 29-year-old Amrit Mondal was lynched in Bangladesh's Hosan Dance village. The time was 11 p.m., the date December 24th. Amrit was alias Samrat, was targeted, of course, by the vigilant violence over allegations of extortion. To remind our viewers, this comes after the killing of Deepu Chandra Das, the 25-year-old who was accused of blasphemy. He was lynched in Mymensingh. His body was left by the highway and then set on fire. Although the interim government of Bangladesh has refused to acknowledge Amrit Mondal's death as a communal act, UNICEF's press secretary Shafiqul Alam has called the lynching violent and tragic. But he's also said it arose from extortion and terrorist activities. The statement claimed that a police investigation revealed Mondal and a few members from his gang, the Samrat Bahini, had gone to Rajbari to demand chanda, which is a type of religious extortion from a local, Shahidul Islam. The interim government also says Mondal was previously accused of multiple serious cases, including murder and extortion, cases with an arrest warrant against him. While the UNIS government has labelled Samrat as a top terrorist, just like in Deepu's case, where there was no proof of any blasphemy against the Prophet, there is no publicly available evidence yet to prove the charges against Mondal either. What is clear, though, is that another Hindu man has been left to the wrath of a mob. Bangladesh, it seems, in Bangladesh, mobs are taking justice into their own hands. Well, the US government has condemned this attack. They've also confirmed the people involved will be punished for the same, but no arrests have been made so far. The only arrest was of Mohammed Salim, reportedly Amrit's gang member. You can see the reporting of the incident by Bangladesh's newspaper as well, the Daily Star, on your screens. Now, after Deepu's death and now Mondal's lynching, many are asking whether these condemnations will change anything on ground, because despite the words, mob justice is continuing. At the heart of both cases is the same reality: no court, no due process, only accusations, rumors, and then a mob who decides who lives and who dies. Now, India has condemned these incidents of lynching, with the Ministry of External Affairs expressing deep concern over what it called an unremitting hostility against minorities in the neighbouring country. MEA spokesperson Randeep Jaiswal said New Delhi was disturbed by the recent killing and highlighted that at least 2,900 instances of violence have been reported against Hindus in Bangladesh.
We are all aware of the recent developments in Bangladesh. We have been closely following them, and as far as law and order situation is concerned, I have been apprising you from time to time as to what our position has been or should be and is today. The unremitting hostility against minorities in Bangladesh, including Hindus, Christians and Buddhists, at the hands of extremists is a matter of grave concern. We condemn the recent gruesome killing of a Hindu youth in Mymensingh and expect that the perpetrators of the crime would be brought to justice. Over 2,900 incidents of violence against minorities, including cases of killings, arsons, land grab, have been documented by independent sources during the tenure of the interim government. These incidents cannot be brushed aside as mere media exaggerations or dismissed as political violence.
Ambassador Veena Sikri, former diplomat, joins us live. Professor Madhav Nalapat, editorial director of the Sunday Guardian, is also with us live. Utpal Kaul, coordinator, Global Kashmiri Pandit Diaspora, also joins us live. Nikhil Chandwani, author and influencer, is also with us on the broadcast. A tough condemnation today coming in from India. The need of the hour, obviously, Ambassador Sikri, but what more can we do?
Well, I think that the first thing is to create a lot more knowledge about this globally, because part of what has happened in Bangladesh is that the media has been very sharply controlled. In fact, all media boardrooms have been changed. All anybody inconvenient has been not only lost a job, but some of them are in jail on murder charges, and they've been there for 1 year without any kind of trial or filing of charges or bail, nothing like that. So the situation is very dire, and I think there's not enough awareness about the situation across India and across the rest of the world, frankly, because they think that the media is not carrying it. And Mohammed Yunus, I have seen him in some interviews, most recently when he was in New York a couple of months ago for the UNGA, and he was asked about this, and he just flipped his hand and said, "Oh, that's fake news from India." So that's how he's dismissing everything, and people are tending to believe him. and because that's what they've been doing for the last 18 months, and the condition is so serious. It is so grievous. It is so shocking to think that such a large number of individuals, Hindus, Buddhists, Christians, the Sufis, Ahmadiyas. Yesterday I was on a channel on Christmas Day with Nirmal Rosario, who's the head of the Church of the Christians in Bangladesh, and he was recounting how their services, their participation in prayers, their lives are so difficult, and their oldest churches and cathedrals have been destroyed. So I think that one of the most important things is to spread this knowledge, and to do something. And I've seen gradually now in India the awakening is coming. There've even been people from film land, film stars, and so on, who now saying, look, we've got to do something about this. We can't keep quiet. But there is really a lot more to be done, because this was being written about, that this present bout of violence against the minorities, Hindu, Buddhist, Christians, is the second largest in the last, it actually is the largest since 1971. In 1971, there was a huge genocidal attack and it was taken up strongly. Then in between, in 2001, in fact, when Begum Khaleda Zia became Prime Minister and Awami League lost, and we know that Begum Khaleda Zia's son Tariq Rahman just returned yesterday to Dhaka. But Begum Khaleda Zia became, for 3 months, there was complete attack on the minorities, saying, we know you have voted for Awami League, so we're going to finish you off. And that was terrible, but that was for 3 months. But this time, it is really even longer than the 9 months of 1971. It has been going on for 18 months, and there's just no end to it. And like Dipu Chandra Das, okay, it was such a gruesome attack. He was handed over. The police was there in the factory. The factory
Yes.
owners were there. But they just handed him over to the mob.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, the factory will be destroyed.
And the lack of action also. Professor Nalapat, of course, mere condemnations have come in, token disapprovals have come in, but the lack of concrete action is what is worrying many as to being a sort of encouragement or a sort of looking the other way of such crimes, such lynchings in Bangladesh.
Uday, the fact of the matter is Bangladesh has now become as much an enemy of India as Pakistan and China are. Let's be honest about that. The Yunus government is absolutely anti-Indian to the point of, if I may say so, extreme hatred towards India. And I think, a large part of that hatred is because of the fact that there is significant Hindu population in India. And as far as Bangladesh is concerned, I think the elements in the Yunus government that really control the missionary government are looking at basically getting rid of all the Hindus in the country, either by murder or through forced migration to India. Calling a victim a murderer or a terrorist or a saboteur or whatever, and then handing him over to the mob. I mean, it reminds me, frankly, of a situation in which you have a thief, and the thief immediately points to an innocent person in the crowd and then says, thief, thief, and everybody runs after an innocent person and just clubs him or her to death. This is what's happening in Bangladesh. They're just mob rule. They're just mob justice. And that mob is a frenzied mob. It is determined to, quote unquote, cleanse. They use the word cleanse. I would say exterminate, the minority communities in Bangladesh, as has correctly been said, Hindus, Christians, Buddhists, every one of them, and basically make it a nation not really, of extremists. This is a very grave danger to India from the security point of view. We have at risk the border with our West Bengal. We have at huge risk now the chicken's neck, frankly, the corridor, which, and I'm very certain the Chinese were active behind the agitation that resulted in the fall of the Sheikh Hasina government. Yes, Hasina was not the best ruler. She was corrupt, she was incompetent, and she was complacent. But the fact of the matter is, what has taken her place is a rule of a coterie of extremists, and they're going to take Bangladesh down the well of failed states. They're steadily proceeding down the well, and I can tell you that we have to be very careful whether it's in West Bengal or whether it is in across the border of Bengal into a chicken's neck. We have to immediately take action to ensure that these areas are secure, for a simple reason that we have to understand that Bangladesh is as much an enemy of India as Pakistan and China are. And frankly, the first two have been very active in ensuring that Muhammad Yunus comes to power and in ensuring that extremists come to power, because they're determined. One is determined to basically take revenge for 1971 or something like that. The other is determined to prevent India from ever emerging as a global rival. Frankly, several companies abroad, and I know this from a personal level by talking to some of the company individuals, that they're very interested in coming to India. Well, they want to just basically our friendly neighbors, quote unquote, I mean, I'm using the word in ironic sense, they want to make sure that India gets reputation for being racked by terrorism
Yes.
and no investment is safe in India, and therefore avoid India as an investment destination. This is a Chinese game plan, and the Pakistanis are helping them, and now unfortunately the Bangladeshis may help them as well. So we have to watch out our vulnerable points. And I again repeat,
Okay.
the chicken and our border with Bangladesh, it's such a tragedy.
Absolutely. Utpal Kaul, and the fear of course is, Utpal Kaul, the fear of course is that this will only rise as the elections approach in Bangladesh, because there will be of course violence connected with the polls as well. That's the worry, because this seems to be a pattern that has erupted in Bangladesh through the last few weeks, and in particular the last few days, Utpal Kaul.
Uday, I have to tell you that I am watching Bangladesh from 1971 very closely, and for last 25 years I am in touch with human rights activists from different parts of Bangladesh, and I knew what was happening even in Awami League time, and it has gone from bad to worst. It is anarchy there. They want an Islamic rule like Pakistan, and these Islamist jihadis have become ever very, very active. They want to finish Hindus. We have only 10% information. Media has only 10% information. I got hundreds of videos from different villages, how they are destroying our temples, how they are grabbing land of poor farmers. They are openly going and kidnapping girls, and so it is one of the worst times in Bangladesh. I think this thing has never happened in history, even I think not even 47, 48. So India has to respond very seriously and with determination. And I think, first of all, Bengalis must arise, whole Indians must arise, and from Narendra Modi ji to Mamata Banerjee must stand, because it is the question of nearly 25 to 30 million Hindus of Bangladesh, and they are in very, very bad situation. And there are very great entrepreneurs in Bangladesh, these Hindu minorities. They are running big hospitals, they are running medical colleges, they are running good industry, and I think they are scared what is their future. So it is from city, from Mymensingh to Khulna to outside Dhaka, not in the main Dhaka. Some places is peace, but outside Dhaka it is anarchy. In Khulna it is anarchy. In Mymensingh it is anarchy, and so they work at will. And so what they have done is the highest kind of jihad, what is written in their book. I don't want to mention more about that, but more important is that media must expose them, not only in India but globally, and human rights organizations, this Amnesty International, world governments must be told what is happening with the Hindu minorities, with the Buddhists, with the Christians in Bangladesh. I think some leaders are silent. American leadership, I think they are in league with Yunus government. They are the people who put him in charge. And as Madhavan and Madam said, that the Chinese are controlling, and Pakistan is happiest this time because the humiliation they got in 1971, 93,000 soldiers surrendering. It is the biggest defeat in the world. And so this is the time they want that the Pakistan should control indirectly, with the help of China, the Bangladesh's politics. And so the only one solution is that India has to be very determined, not only talk and show some action, and tell them that if you don't stop this terrorism, we will act. Thank you very much.
Nikhil Chadwani, let me bring you in here. You know, India, of course, is speaking out and speaking up. Do you believe India should do more? And also, what about the world? Because there is, of course, there are murmurs. And thankfully, you know, parliamentarians, senators and other political voices are beginning speaking up from across the world. But what more can India do in leveraging the global community also to come out and speak up? Perhaps that's the only way Bangladesh will stop this. Otherwise, they seem to be turning a blind eye.
So we are not doing enough. Our government is not doing enough, sadly. And the reality on the ground is far worse than what we are seeing on television, the videos that are coming out. Utpal sir rightly pointed out that there are hundreds and thousands of cases which are popping out of Bangladesh, and that is not even being made public because those are that graphic. So Hindus in certain villages of Bangladesh are being now asked to pay jizya, a stupid tax imposed on non-Muslims. If they fail to pay those taxes, they are being lynched by Islamists, and this is what happened in the second lynching case in Bangladesh as per the local on-ground report. Amrit was forced to pay a major amount of jizya, and when he rejected it, he was lynched publicly by the Islamist mob and thrown in the gutter. And this is as per the locals. The locals have communicated this to everybody, but the Yunus government, they are not agreeing it. The interim government in Bangladesh, they are trying to save face by falsely accusing Amrit Mandal of being a terrorist. Bangladesh is in desperate need of rice imports from India, and they know that this lynching of an innocent man, if it is made public, their country will not have food on the table, and that's why the fake terrorism angle has appeared. Hindu can never be a terrorist. We need to put sanctions on Bangladesh and smoke those jihadists. We have to smoke those jihadists across the border before it is too late. Amrit Mandal, he was innocent. He was forced to pay a hefty amount as he was a Hindu, and when he denied paying that this month, he was murdered, he was killed. We have to call this what it is. This is Islamic terrorism. Bangladesh has Islamists who hate Hindus. Bangladesh has no police, there's no law and order right now, and our Hindu sisters and brothers are in danger. Ground report also states that dozens of Hindu minors were sexually exploited in some Bangladeshi villages, and those videos are all over Telegram. Remember in 1970, Yahya Khan ordered his Vikharistani generals to rape as many Hindus as possible in eastern Pakistan, which is now Bangladesh, so that they can breed out Hinduness of the region. Sadly, the history is repeating itself right now. We must stop rice exports to Bangladesh. We have to do more. There must be a total ban on all the clothes that are made in Bangladesh. We are very unlucky. We are absolutely unlucky to have a sorry excuse of a poor, smelly neighborhood that wants to kill us, that wants to kill idol worshippers. Hindus are basically kept as hostages in that stinkhole. They don't even have a registered address. The poor Hindus don't even have a registered address on which they could make their passport and migrate to India, and that's why for the past 3 generations a lot of poor Hindus couldn't come over here. Yes, our government's hands are tied, that's why they are not doing enough, because foreign power could arm Bangladesh like they did with Ukraine if we react militarily, and that's why as concerned citizens it's our duty to act. we have to boycott the Bangladeshi clothes. And I may sound intimidating, but only eye for an eye against Bangladesh will assure safety of 2 crore Hindus who are kept as hostages.
Okay, let me take that back across to you, Veena Sikri, on what you expect, of course, in the days ahead as we build up to the Bangladesh elections in 2026. Do you expect worryingly more such issues? Do you believe if there is global condemnation, perhaps Yunus will be forced to act merely to show the world, or not quite?
Oh, yes, absolutely. He is very scared of public opprobrium. That's the only thing that he's scared of, because he has this image of being a Nobel laureate, or Nobel Peace Laureate at that, to protect. And that's why he not only would be absolutely cave in under pressure if he got global, tell every Nobel laureate in the world about what is happening in Bangladesh. I think there are reports already, they've been prepared, they've been bundled from the very beginning, they've been keeping a an account. Let's send that to all the Nobel laureates of the world and let them know that this is what happened. Even what Mr. Chandwani just said about the death of Amrit Mandal. Look at the way the regime, Yunus regime, is twisting the story. And I think that even these elections that are being held, before the elections are held, this truth should come out. And the elections, we must insist that they are inclusive. And we must also insist that protecting the rights of minorities must become part of the election manifesto of all parties. Do you know that even in the beginning, when all this started last year, on 5th of August, when Sheikh Hasina's plane was just leaving Dhaka, the first target was, number one, the statue of Sheikh Mujib, and number two, the Hindu, Buddhist, and Christian, Sufi, and Ahmadiyya minorities. And Chinmoy Das was actually, arranging all the meetings, because this time the Hindu minority and other minorities said, we are not going to leave. This is our country, we want to stay, we want our rights. So Chinmoy Das prepared a very simple list of 8 rights that he is demanding from the administration. Very simple: have a ministry for minorities, have this fund, one Buddhist fund, one Christian fund, one Hindu fund to look after people who are so poor and unable to help them. Then the economic trainings and so on. But of course, there has got more response from the Yunus administration. And Chinmoy Das has been in jail for more than a year.
Yes.
No trial, no bail,
Yes.
no charges, nothing.
Yes.
So, even that, all these cases, I think,
it's becoming a worrying pattern. That's what. It's not isolated incidents anymore. Professor Nalapat, last word to you. 30 seconds.
Yunus government is not going to make any changes. Muhammad Yunus has no power in Bangladesh. He's a puppet. He's been put there as a Mukhota, as the face of an extremist mob of violent people. And very frankly, he has no powers at all. But he enjoys the trappings of power. Big palace to stay in, official cars, pilot cars, jets to fly him around. And I can assure you, he has no power at all where the government of Bangladesh is concerned, because it's firmly in the hands of extremists. And I'm beginning to wonder if Muhammad Yunus himself is not actually at heart an extremist. So very honestly, and as for reports coming and other things coming, let's be honest, even in the Bangladesh 1971 liberation, hardly any, very little favorable mention was made of that. In fact, a lot of mention was hostile and friendly to Pakistan. So the reality is that I don't see very much of an expectation that there'll be such an international reaction. The only people who can act are the people in India, and the only government that can act is the Narendra Modi government. So I would like to say, Uday, the ball is firmly in India's court, and it's very important to ensure that action takes place and these murders stop, because they cannot proceed with impunity. As of now, they're proceeding with impunity, and they cannot proceed with impunity. So very honestly, Uday, don't expect Muhammad Yunus to act.
Yeah.
Don't expect international media to act in any way negatively in overwhelming
Yes.
numbers. The entire onus is upon us,
Okay.
our country,
Okay.
and our leadership to act.
All right. My thanks to all of our guests for joining us on this discussion. We'll, of course, keep tracking this story. For the time being, we're quickly turning our focus to some breaking news coming in. The inquiry committee constituted to look into the Indigo crisis has